Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast on this Sunday, July 3rd. I just want to wish all my American friends a happy 4th of July Independence Day in the States, which is tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to my podcast today at 1 o'clock with my guest, Coach Freddie Zamora of the Toledo Glass City of the Basketball League. This will be Freddie's second time to come on. So we're just going to talk about the Glass City's first year in the TBL. And also their playoff run, which ended in the Midwest Conference Finals to the Kokomo Bobcats. And we'll just talk to Freddie a little bit about the TBL Finals, which started last night between Albany and Shreveport Mavericks. And looking forward to it. So just bear with me, guys, one moment. And I'm going to bring on the head coach of the TBL's Toledo Glass City. Hey, Freddie, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Good. I'm not too bad. But I really appreciate you coming on my podcast for a second time.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. It's always a good time when I get on here.
So how's everything doing with you and your family?
We're doing good, man. It's been a really nice weekend. Nice weather out. Can't complain. Just enjoying it.
Okay. When's your big day when's your big day for your marriage?
We get married on September 24th this summer. So we'll be
Wow.
having a wedding near my hometown this summer.
Where's your hometown again?
Napoleon, Ohio.
Napoleon, Ohio. Okay. I've
Yep.
been to Ohio, but I haven't been to Napoleon. Is that cool? Is that towards
It's-
Cleveland or Cincinnati or Columbus?
No, it's more towards the Indiana border.
Indiana
it's a small
border.
town. It's a small
Oh.
town. Yep. It's probably about 45 minutes or so from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've been through Indiana, but there's a lot of basketball country down there, by the way. So when you
Oh,
think of
man.
Indiana, you think of basketball country. You think of
Yeah.
Larry Bird, especially.
Yeah, Indiana is basketball country for sure.
Jerry's watching. Hello, Chris. Hey, thanks, Jerry, for watching. Really appreciate it. So, but I was gonna say, I guess I watched some of the game last night on TBL TV. Did you catch any of it all between Albany and Shreveport Mavericks?
Yeah, I actually did tune in. Yeah, I did. I watched the whole game. It was pretty good. It was very high scoring, I seen.
We'll lead into that. Can I just get your thoughts on the 2022 TBL finals between Albany and Shreveport, and who are some players to watch out on both teams? And one thing I noticed looking at the stats from this game, neither team played great defensively, in my opinion. It was kind of an offensive game, but the difference, I think Shreveport 17 for 28, 60% from 3-point line. Albany 7 for 20, 35%. Those 10 extra 3-point shots they hit, that was the difference in this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to kind of start out to the first part of your question, Albany and Shreveport are both very well-known, legendary teams in minor league basketball in the U.S. So for them two to match up in the finals is pretty cool. Like I said, I did watch the whole game last night. I was going to ask you about the stats because the one thing I did notice watching the game is the defense wasn't all there for both teams. I seen a lot of wide open shots, and Shreveport was knocking down everything.
Yep.
They were knocking down everything. And Albany, it seemed like when Albany would get in within that 2-3 point deficit or even take the lead by 2, they just couldn't keep it. And Shreveport would just go on a tear, knocking down shots. So I'm really curious to see the adjustments that both coaches make. They're both really well-known coaches, have been around the game a long time. I'm curious to see what kind of adjustments they make. And the other big thing about this this finals matchup is home court advantage. I know Shreveport's crowd was going crazy every time they knocked down a 3. And if you're a basketball player, you know how much that builds up your confidence. So Shreveport's going to have to go back to Albany, which is going to be very, very tough. Because like I said, I know that they brought out all their pots and pans and stuff in Albany, and I would imagine that their crowd's going to be really, really big and ready to go for this because it's for all the marbles right here. So, like I said, I'd definitely just like to see the adjustments that the coaches make.
What are your thoughts on this best of 3 series where the lower seed gets the first game and then the home team gets game 2 and 3 if necessary? I just wanted to ask you, as since you're a head coach of a pro basketball team in the TBL, what's your thoughts on that? I don't want to put you under the spot. I
No,
just
you're
thought
good.
that's
For me personally, I could see how coaches get upset from both sides of it. Me personally, I don't really mind either one. But I have heard feedback that they would like it to where you could go. They have to come to you first. That way, you can at least take that first game and try to close them out. But like I said, it's one of those things, man. Everybody's got to lace up their shoes and play basketball, man. At the end of the day, so I don't care whether it's here, there, wherever, man. I'm ready to go. I can't hear you, Chris.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry about that. What I was going
You're
to
all right.
say, it seems like Albany's put themselves behind the ball, 8 ball, every series. Basically, their last few series, they've lost the first team on the road. And the thing now is it puts more pressure on them. They have one bad game at home and it's all over. So the
Yeah.
pressure's
Well,
really
the
Albany
one
now.
thing about Albany too and Coach Brown is they're very good at adjustments. Because if you go back and you watch their series, whether it's Atlantic City or even like Kokomo in this last series, they got beat at Kokomo. But then you watch the next game and you would have no idea with the performance that they put on the next game. I can't remember how much they won by, but it was a pretty a good deficit. And like I said, with Coach Will Brown, credit to him and the staff, they do a really good job of scouting the other team and making adjustments. So like I said, I mean, with Shreveport getting a win, I'm sure they're going to go back to the drawing board too and fix the stuff that they need to fix still. So this next game for game 2 is going to be really, really interesting.
How much do you know of Steve Tucker of the Mavericks?
I know about his history. He's won a lot of championships already in the minor leagues. They've been in different leagues, though. From my understanding, it hasn't all been with the TBL. So this is his first TBL championship he's trying to chase right now. But I believe it's his 5th one with the Mavericks.
Wow.
So, like I said, it's going to be a really interesting game. The other thing I had noticed too was I know Albany can play up pace or play at a slower pace. But I feel like Shreveport kind of sped them up a little bit too. And Albany made some bad decisions at times too as well. So I'd be curious to see how many turnovers did each team have.
I'm just gonna look this up. I had some player stats here, but all I know is it was an offensive game. Turnovers. I believe the Mavericks. I want to call them the Pirates for some reason because there was a CFL team called the Shreveport Pirates years ago in the CFL for maybe 1 or 2 years. They had 15 turnovers and Albany had 12 turnovers.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, turnovers and missing your shots is not going to help you win games.
Yeah. I'd imagine Albany's going to try to slow the game way down this next game, but we'll see.
Yeah, for the Mavericks, Jordan had 28, Parks 33, Harrison 16, and for Albany, Anthony Mole had 24 points. He had a good game. Williams 18, but AJ Mosby, who I think's their best player, only had 14 points. 14 points total in this game.
Yeah, he didn't see, and you got to look for him to maybe have a big game this next game too. How many did you say Parks had for Shreveport?
33 points.
Yeah, I noticed he was going off. He's just he's another. There's a lot of them in this league, man, that are they're gamers. Like when the time comes, they go off. He's one of them. AJ Mosby's one of them. Chris Darrington for Toledo's one of them. There's Munson for Padawani. There's especially the guard play. There's so many guards in this league that when the time comes they go off, and he's one of them. So like I said, I'm curious to see what happens this next game because AJ Mosby could be going off next. So we'll see.
Okay, and Jerry's saying hey to you. I guess
that's my uncle.
nephews.
What's up, Uncle?
It's the uncle. Okay. Well, I appreciate Jerry watching and stuff. Jerry, if you have any questions, feel free to ask on here. So I appreciate you watching and stuff like that. But no, I'm still learning about this league. Freddie, I'm still learning about it because, like I said, a year ago, I didn't even know about it because I was just getting involved with the NBL of Canada, and then when they announced they were going to play you guys, I started watching the games and started watching the quality of play, and it's like, wow, these guys are good.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool that partnership's going to continue on too, man. I think that was really cool for both leagues, both countries. NBL Canada, again, they have guards and players that can go off at times too as well. So it was a really cool battle, and I'm happy that that partnership's going to continue too.
What I was gonna say is, I really hope. I can't speak for your league. I hope the games against the NBL Canada next year count for you guys because I know this year they counted for the Canadian teams, but not for you guys. They were considered exhibition games. So I really hope they look into making those games count in the standings for you guys as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine they do next year. This year was probably just like a little trial run to see how it would look or how the competition would match up. Um, and I think now that both leagues probably see that the leagues are pretty almost evenly matched in a sense, maybe they'll start counting it on both records for both leagues. So.
And I was going to say the commissioner, I was at the NBL finals in Kitchener when London won. They gave me a hat. I'm hoping maybe the TBL will hook me up with a championship hat. So
Yeah.
I collect hats. So
Yeah, you got to get Mr. Magley on here. Get him on here, and I'm sure he'll hook you up.
yeah, he is following me on Twitter. So that's kind of an honor. I've got him and Audley following me on Twitter, which is kind of nice too. And I like promoting both of your leagues.
Yeah, call him out, man. He'll get on here.
Definitely. Hey, when I had Matt Derry on, a longtime Detroit personality, radio personality on here, we're talking Pistons. I did bring up the TBL with him as well.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah, he
Has
knows
he
a
heard of
little
it
bit.
yet?
He knows a little bit about it. He knows about the Flint United.
Oh, Flint United. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty good too.
But
Yeah,
Matt's involved with the G League with the Motor City Cruise. He does a color analyst and some play-by-play for him. So he said the
Okay.
next time I come to Detroit, he'll hook me up with some Motor City Cruise tickets. I said, doing this podcast, man, I'm getting a lot of freebies, and it's like, wow. And I would love to see a G League game, and I'd like to see a TBL game next year too.
Yeah, the Motor City Cruise games are fun, man. They're at I think it's Wayne State up there in Detroit. I went to one not too long ago. It's a really cool setup that they do. Good environment and high level basketball. So it's really fun to watch. And like I said, even watching them, the guys in the TBL are not that far. I mean, certain players they're not that far off from that league. So.
Definitely. So, and that leads to this question. I wanted to ask you this, Freddie. Thoughts on the TBL and your Glass City's first season overall, regular season and playoffs and stuff like that?
I was very obviously you hate losing, right? You hate when the season comes to the end, comes to an end. But I was really proud of what we did for Toledo collectively as a team. To make it to the Elite Eight and be one of the final 8 teams in the 40-plus team league in the U.S. is an accomplishment. Winning the Upper Midwest Conference was a really big accomplishment. We've had individual accolades too as well. Like I said, with the Chris Darrington being Rookie of the Year, all TBL, second team, the first ever All-Star MVP. To just do all that kind of stuff for Toledo, man, and then even being able to get out to the community and stuff was really cool. So I'm really proud of what we did. I think what kind of hurt was, like I've said before, and it's with anybody, not just our team, when we had lost 4 of our players from our roster right at playoff time. And again, that's just part of the game. It's part of playoffs, and you take it on the chin, man. But the thing that I loved about our guys and what we did is we just kept fighting. And we literally fought until the end. So you, as a coach, you can't ask for nothing more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think what's more disappointing is if a team just lays down like, we only got 7 guys or 8 guys. Let's just let them beat us by 20. It's over. But we didn't do that. And like I said, we took those 2 rounds and won the Upper Midwest just by fighting hard. So overall, I'm just really proud of what we did in year 1. I think year 2 is going to be something even more special. So.
I was going to say Neil Foreman, head coach of the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans, can relate to your situation because against London, London was completely healthy, and you know how good London is. Kitchener for 2.5 out of those 3 games. They might have got swept by London, but it wasn't really a 3-game sweep. 2.5 out of those 3 games, Kitchener could play with London, and Kitchener was without 4 starters or 4 players, 2 starters, and then in the final game, the MVP Joe Kendrick had to leave the game early in the first quarter. So they could have just laid down and let London dominate them, but they fought their asses off, and I give them a
Yeah.
lot of credit. And Neil Foreman, the head coach of the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans, if you ever get a chance to coach against them or talk to him, he's one of the nicest guys, and he's got such a high basketball IQ and love for the game.
Yeah. I've talked to Coach a little bit via messages. Good guy. And that's the thing that I think hurts as a coach is like even in his instance or my instance is like it's the what ifs, you know, that's the stuff that stinks. Like you hate to be like, man, what if we had such and such and what if this happened? Like, but I mean, as a coach, you just got to move on and you got to kind of understand what you need to do and what you can do differently. And like I said, sometimes that just hits certain teams at the wrong times. And like you said, other teams will be full roster and full go health. And that's just that's the cards you're dealt, you know? I mean, that's the thing I love about basketball and sports is it correlates with life too. You know what I'm saying? Everything in it was going to go your way.
That's true. Absolutely
adversity
true.
is going to hit.
Yep.
Adversity is going to hit. The cards are going to be dealt against you. And it's going to be how you respond to that. And that's the one thing I love about sports is it teaches you so many things, man. And I'm grateful that I have this sport in my life because I learned a ton from it. I'm still learning today. So.
And Jerry wants to ask you a question. With the excitement of the new owner of the Glass City, what big things are in the plans?
Oh, there's a lot of big things. I've been talking to our team market owner, Josh, quite a bit. He's got a lot of exciting stuff in store, even like a rebranding type thing. But I'm not going to talk too much on that. I'll let him announce all that and everything. But there's going to be some rebranding. And I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to happen, especially with Toledo backing us a little bit more now, too, and everything as well. There's some exciting things that'll happen that I think is going to set us up for some success for year 2.
And I'm hoping I'll be able to come down to a game next year. And ideally, it'd be nice to see a NBL Canada team against your team in Toledo as well.
Yeah, come on down, man. That'd be really cool. Like I said, you just let me know.
Yeah, I have to do a Mud Hands game. I'm a Tigers fan, but I am a minor league baseball fan too. And when you think of minor league baseball, you think of the Toledo Mud Hands.
Oh, Mud Hands games are a blast, man. They're actually, I think they have one tonight too. But they're a blast. They do a really good job with the entertainment and stuff like that at the game. So I enjoy going to those as well.
Okay. This leads to my next question. Can you just tell my audience here in Ontario, the NBL fans as well, just a little bit about your team and some of your key players and what were your overall strengths of this 2022 team this year? And if you do come back next year, I'm not putting you on the spot there, but if you do come back coach next year, what areas would you like to try to improve on? Obviously, health. You want to keep guys healthy, but is there another area you want to try to strengthen the team on going forward if you come back?
Yeah. As far as our team, like I said, the thing that I loved about our guys this year was just our fight. And they kind of had the same mentality, and it must be just how they've been coached and stuff and brought up. But just their fight, like I think our team's adversity and fight was very important this year. Because like I said, a lot of teams could have just gave up and been like whatever. Because we went into the playoffs with this scenario. You know what I'm saying? So we could have literally been like, hey, like we ain't gonna have the depth and stuff. It is what it is. But it didn't bother none of us. I mean, we were all just like, hey, it is what it is. Let's go to war. And that's what we did. And that's the thing I loved about the guys this year is that they were just ready to go to war no matter what. As far as key players, we had a couple key players. And a lot of the times, sometimes it doesn't show up on the stats and stuff. But we had a couple guys that were just vital pieces. Obviously, like we've talked about, Chris Darrington, the numbers he put up this year were excellent. Like I said, to win all those awards and the first year, especially being in the TBL, is something special. But he's just, again, he's one of those players that we've talked about in the TBL that just, they're going to take over a game, you know. I think one of the things that was really spectacular that I watched from him was when we played Detroit Hustle here at home. I think we were down by like 8 or 10 or something with like 2 minutes to go. And there was a whole argument and stuff that happened on the court or whatnot. And we just kind of regrouped and rehuddled. And we came back out, and I kid you not, that deficit was gone in like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And it was just Chris layup, Chris three, like just took over the game. So Chris is just a special talent, special kid, great character guy. And then, like I said, we've had like Clemmy Owens was a great defender. He took over games at times too as well. He knocked down big shots. Chance Hawkins was a really, really big hustle player. Jonathan Brown, hustle player. Katwan, just a glue guy. He does a little bit of everything, but defensively, you can put him on the toughest offensive player on the other team, and he'll do whatever he needs to do to study his assignment. Like I said, just a special team, man, guys that fought, and I'm really proud of the year one that we had with them. So as far as what I'd like to change for next year, if I was to come back or kind of do differently, that's a really good question. The one main thing I would definitely like to do is add height. I don't feel like we had enough height this year, which a lot of other teams, I mean, they might have like 1 or 2 6'9" or a 7-footer, and we just didn't have none of that. I mean, our tallest guy was 6'6". In all reality, we didn't have guys that literally play the center spot. Even Jonathan Brown, I think he could be a foreman. You know what I'm saying? So adding height next year is probably the biggest key piece, and I think it'll be something that'll be very, very vital in success for year 2 is adding the height pieces. So,
like, and also shot blocking and a little more rebounding, defensive and offensive rebounding too. Sounds like the Detroit Pistons. That's what they did in the offseason. Was that I know they got the point guard Ivy, but they got Durant,
Jalen Durant,
yeah, 6'11",
yeah,
250-pound center from Memphis. And Matt Dury was telling me, because he's a shot blocker and he's a rebounder, and nothing against Isaiah Stewart, but they needed. That's what he said they needed. They identified their needs, and they got him in the 13th overall.
That's the main thing. You have to identify your needs, man. I mean, what can you do better? What can you adjust to get better? Which is fine. I love doing that part of things. And I told everybody, I'm the kind of person, like, once I see something for a while or how things go and how things work and how things operate, I'm very good at being meticulous and going in there and identifying what it is and fixing it. So I said after year 1, I'll know exactly what I need to do for year 2 to make sure that we're set up for success. Funny story about Jalen Duran. He actually played for team final when I was coaching with Mocan Elite in the Nike EYBL circuit. So my team actually went up against Jalen Duran's team.
Wow.
In 16U. And I remember looking at the kid and I was like, ain't no way. I mean, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster. But we had ended up beating him in his team in the championship in Atlanta. I think it was to punch our ticket to the Peach Jam tournament too as well in Augusta. But he's a force, man. I mean, he's a force then. He was a force in Memphis. I'm excited to see what he does in the league too and follow him as well. I like that he's right here in Detroit, so I can go check him out. But he's a force, man.
I was gonna say that I'm being a Pistons fan. The Pistons are looking pretty good with what they're doing with their roster and stuff like that. Obviously, they got a young team, but they got a lot of talent. And Dwayne Casey, to me, is one of the best coaches for working with young players too, developing them.
Yeah, I speak to the Motor City Cruise general manager, Rob Murphy, great dude, every so often. And I had to reach out to him like, man, you guys did an excellent job with this year's draft and the moves that they're making. Ivy, Cunningham, and Duran, they're all
Killian Hayes too.
They're gonna be exciting to watch. And the other thing that's really exciting about, they're all super young. That's a very young team. So like I said, I'll definitely keep an eye on the Pistons because I think they'll make some noise very soon.
Don't worry, I mentioned your name to Matt Derry, and also I'm hoping you're right to get Rob Murphy on to talk about being involved with the Pistons and running the cruise as well.
Yeah, you definitely got to get Rob Murphy on here. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
He actually has a book out too as well that you should read. It's kind of about his life and his backstory growing up in Detroit, and very interesting. He definitely is a grinder, a tough dude, but his story's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's a great guy that I think you would love to have on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more guys on from your league and the NBL of Canada as well. So I'm hoping that happens, and I'm hoping to get Chris Darrington back on again, and Aaron Sanders from the Windsor Express. He's the voice of the Windsor Express. He is an encyclopedia, and I'm hoping one day when you come on again, you can talk to Aaron, because this guy, he loves basketball. He knows the NBA inside and out, and your league. He studies. He's prepared, and eventually he will be on TSN or ESPN, and that, because this guy has the voice for basketball.
Nah, that's awesome, man. I'd love to do that.
Definitely. So, what else was I going to ask you? We've talked about some areas for next year and Chris Darrington. I guess I'm going to talk to you again briefly about the series against the Kokomo Bobcats. What did you like see? What did they present to you that you guys didn't see from other teams, and how good were they overall in that series?
The one thing you can notice about those guys is they played one very well as a team and together. You can tell that they were all in. They didn't care about who scored. But in that series, what kind of caught up to us was just their depth. Like I said, they legit had 12 guys that could all go in there and know their roles, know their parts, and play the game the right way. So their depth caught up to our depth. And like I said, they played super hard. They knocked down big shots. You go to shut down one guy, but like I said, they had two or three other guys that are ready to come in there and go off too. So it's just a lot of assignments. But just hats off to them. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, they won the series, they won the game. But I would say that their depth definitely took us over, and it was kind of obvious if you watched the series. But again, we fought like crazy, and we're right there. But it happens to everybody, you know.
Yep, and they have a good head coach too, and former NBA player Cliff Livingston as well.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He was scared to play me one-on-one, but he's a good dude.
I actually got to talk to him at the end of one of the I think was it the I don't know which NBL Canada game, but I got to speak to him on the post game, and he answered my questions and seems like a good guy, and he had a really great basketball career. It seems like the players want to play for him and stuff like that. He enjoys coaching.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. He's a fun dude. I actually was speaking to him before our last game at home. We were talking for maybe 30 minutes or so on the bench because I'm a huge Chicago Bulls fan. Always have been, but obviously I had to talk to him, so it's cool just meeting him in person. But I talked to him and asked him some stories. Like, man, tell me some stories about the Bulls back in the day or about Michael Jordan. Like, I gotta how true is the Last Dance and stuff. And we just sat there and talked for like 30, 40 minutes before the game, and he was just telling me story after story. So he's a really, really good dude.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of the Bulls, I've had three guys from the Bulls on my podcast last year. Chuck Swirsky, the radio voice of the Bulls, and he was with the Toronto Raptors for 10 years. Great guy, Chuck Swirsky. Then I had Tommy Edwards, their legendary PA announcer, who created the Sirius song intro for Jordan and the Bulls.
Oh,
Tommy, I had for an hour and a half. I could have talked to him for 10 hours. Super nice guy, and he changed the face of the NBA with the opening intros.
man.
And then I've had their current PA announcer, Tim St. Clair, on, who does the Bulls, the Bears, the Chicago Fires, and the Fighting Alumni,
Oh,
Illinois. And he's a super nice guy, too. So even though I'm a Pistons fan, I've had a number of Bulls guys on my podcast.
no, that's cool. No, you're right. That Chicago Bulls intro, man, when you hear it, it's legendary. It's one of those songs that it'll get you fired up. I remember being a kid, I had that downloaded on a burnt CD in my CD player, man.
Yep.
I used to play that song before my games when I was a kid, and That's just a legendary intro song.
I'll have to. What I'll do, Freddie, is I'll have to send you the link of that podcast with Tommy Edwards, because in my podcast he tells me and the audience how he came about that song from Alan Parsons and how it got into the Bulls intros.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
So I will after this. I'm going to do some camera work, but tonight I will send you the link, and
Okay.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Tommy Edwards, man, this guy doesn't get enough credit for what he did with the opening intros and changing the NBA, and a great guy, super nice guy too.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Definitely. Last question, Freddie. And then I gotta let you go as well. I gotta get going myself. This is one I wanted to ask you. First part, I'll do the second part first. What were your thoughts on the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics, and Golden State winning their fourth title in 8 years? And do you consider them a dynasty like the Bulls were in the '90s?
Ooh. Definitely a dynasty. I'm not gonna compare nobody to my '90s Bulls, but they're a dynasty. And it's just one of those things, man. With the Warriors, it's a culture. They have their core guys, the Steph, the Clay, Draymond, that they build around, and the Warriors they're so good at adding pieces to that core that just works so great for that organization. And when I watch their draft, if you watch them draft, they're so good at just piecing together stuff, because like they see stuff, and it's credit to their scout team and everything. They see stuff in players that other teams are missing. Like to get that Pat Baldwin, I think he's going to be a really good player. I mean, he's a 6'10" guy. I've known about him for a long time. Can shoot it from deep, and again, you got to look at Warriors basketball and how they play, and he correlates perfectly with it. And then Rollins, who I've actually watched here at UT play, is a special talent. He played right here at UT. And again, you look at the Warriors' style of play and what kind of guards they usually have. He's going to be great there. So I'm really excited to see how those two turn out there. But like I said, I thought they were another group that did an amazing job in their draft too. Because they're still scared. They still got James Wiseman too as well, who didn't play. They're a scary team, man. So who knows what's to come from that still in the next couple of years. I don't know. I know it has the rest of the NBA wanting trade requests and doing all this other type of stuff. So hats off to them. I mean, you can't do nothing but respect it. I've learned, especially as I've gotten into coaching, you have to respect it. Like growing up, I always hated the Spurs. I could not stand the Spurs because they always won. But then as I got older and I got into coaching and stuff, I'm like, man, that's so cool to see that success over the years. And as a coach and even from like a player standpoint, you understand what gets put in to get there. You know what I'm saying? From a Coach Popovich to a Manu, Tony Parker, all of them. Like so much stuff goes into that to win. So like now I look back and I'm like, dang, I wish I would have respected that more growing up. But yeah, teams like the Spurs and Warriors and Bulls and stuff, man, it's just so special. So who knows what's to come from the Warriors next year too, as well. Still,
I know. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say Steve Kerr, 5 championships as a player and 3 with the Bulls, I believe. And then he has 4 as a head coach. That's 9. He's like, I think 2 behind Phil Jackson now for overall rings. And Bill Russell, I think, won 11 rings as a player.
It's just, man, it's one of those things. It's winners win, man.
Yeah.
Winners win. Like they know what it takes. They know what you have to put in to get back. Winners win. And that's what I tell my guys all the time too, man. Like you look at all these teams and stuff too, like they didn't have all of the best players. You know what I'm saying? Great teams know their roles. Great teams don't care who scores. Great teams want to play defense, and they it's offensive to them and disrespectful if they get scored on, like they take it personal. They dive on the floor and they want that ball so that you can't get that ball. A lot of guys don't understand that kind of stuff. The sacrifice that it takes to really do something special like that. But when you do, it all pays off. You know, it all pays off for the sacrifice that you put in. So again, it's just hats off to those teams because it's tough, man. It's very, very tough. That's why, like, when you see guys crying when they win the NBA Finals and stuff, you think about how long their seasons are and how much time and stuff that they put into that and poured into it to finally pay off. And now you have that trophy. It's just, there's nothing like it.
Definitely.
But go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, to answer your other part of your question, I seen you said, what other sports am I interested in? I like just about every sport. After after basketball, of course, is probably football. I'm a huge Ohio State Buckeyes fan. Um, but then after that, it's got to be boxing, man. I've always, I know people love UFC and stuff, but I've grown up watching boxing since I was a kid. My dad loved boxing, so I was watching back in the heavyweight days with like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson's, all them guys. I grew up watching all that with boxing. So I really love boxing. I'm a fan of UFC too as well. I actually watched the fights last night that were pretty good too. I love sports, man. I mean, though, I'll be honest, the only sport that I have never really gotten myself into is golf. I
Same
don't know
here.
what I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. I've tried to play it. I don't know. I've tried to play it. I've tried to watch it. It's just maybe it's one of those sports that I'll get into it like when I get older or something. I don't know.
Yep.
But it's just one of those sports that I've never been able to really get into.
Yeah, and same here as well. But basically, I'm hockey, football, basketball, um, the major four sports, and now I'm into a lacrosse. I'm into box lacrosse, which is indoor, the National Lacrosse League. One of my guests, Pat, who works for TSN, and he's part of the National Lacrosse League, has gotten me into it. So if you ever get a chance to check out the National Lacrosse League, check out NL.com. It's basically a combination of hockey and basketball. Honestly, Freddie, if you ever watch a lacrosse game, you'll love it. I'm still learning about the sport, and Colorado just beat Buffalo recently to win the championship, and they had over 19,000 fans in Buffalo. So if you ever get a
Wow.
chance to check out a national lacrosse,
Yeah, lacrosse is pretty high tempo, high pace and stuff too. Is it?
Yes.
I think that's what it is. I like up tempo, fast.
Oh yes.
Type sports.
Oh yes.
And I think that's what it is. Like with golf, it's not so fast paced.
Fast paced.
You know, I like fast paced, like go. Want to pay attention to every little thing. So.
There's two types of lacrosse. There's field lacrosse, which is outdoor, and then box lacrosse is indoor. But if you ever next year check out a lacrosse game, like an indoor one, I think Detroit should have a team again. Personally, you would love it because it's a little bit of basketball and a little bit of hockey, and it's great. And they have a shot clock too. 30 seconds, the team has to get a shot on net, or it's a time violation. So it's a great sport. So those are my 5 sports now.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you follow the Toledo Walleye.
Hockey. Yeah, they were affiliated with the Red Wings.
But the Walleye, they made it all the way to the finals this year in their league.
Wow.
So I know they had like record-breaking crowds in their arena. So I want to say it was like over 8,000, almost 9,000 people in there.
That's
at their
pretty
games,
good. That's
which
good.
they led. I think they led the league in attendance in crowds. So that's why like when with this basketball team here in Toledo, it just made sense. It's like a minor league capital of the world, man. You know, I mean, you have the Toledo Mud Hens, the Toledo Walleye, and that's why I'm like to be able to add basketball. It's so cool.
And you know what the great thing about Toledo is you're not far from Cleveland and you're not far from Detroit. You're in a good location, sports wise, for major league sports and then minor league sports.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I get contacted a lot on social media via messages of players from like Cleveland and Detroit and even Columbus that they want to come play up here. They're like, hey, what do I got to do to come play on your team? And I'm talking great talent. So that's why I said I'm excited for next year. I'm excited for the combines and stuff. If I'm to return, I think it's going to be a really special team.
Okay, and to wrap this up, I'm going to put you on the spot with this last question. Thoughts on Kevin Durant? Where does he end up? And where can my audience find you again on social media and the Glass City on the internet?
Oh man, Kevin Durant. I don't know. I've been reading all the social media stuff. They're talking about him and Kyrie both getting traded to the Lakers. I know he really wants to go to the Suns or the Heat, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know where he lands though, man. That's a good question. I don't know. He's one of those guys you can't really try to you can try your best to guess at where he's gonna go or what he's gonna do, but even with him requesting a trade, like nobody really expected him to do that. So I don't know where he's gonna end up. Hopefully it's Chicago to the Bulls. But I don't know. He's a special talent. I'm excited to see where he ends up because it's gonna shake a couple things up. Social media they can follow the team at Toledo Glass City Basketball on Facebook, Instagram. Twitter is Glass Toledo. And then me personally, like I said, you can probably just search my name, Freddie Zamora, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and be able to find me.
Okay, I was going to say, and I did hear rumors about Toronto, but if Toronto wants Kevin Durant, I think he has to waive his no trade clause to Canada, and also they would have to give up either Siakam or Scotty Barnes. I caught one or those, both of them, or one of them at least in a trade.
Well, see, let me ask you that though. I mean, Kevin Durant's what, 34 years old?
Yep.
How much are you willing to give up for Kevin Durant if you're one of these other teams? You know, again, he's a special talent.
Yep.
But how much are you willing to give up for Kevin Durant? Because I think it's going to be a hefty price for anybody that does take him in. Because they're even talking about the Suns. I can't remember who they said that the Suns offered, which it sounded like an okay deal. And they said that Brooklyn was like, not even close. You haven't even scratched the surface. So I'm curious to see what's going to be given up for them to get him. I know they've been talking about like 3-team trades through a 3-way trades for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and stuff. So I'm just curious to see where they're going to go. I even heard today, if I'm not mistaken, that Kyrie Irving could possibly get traded to the Mavericks with Luka too. So I don't know.
We'll see what happens. But hey, Freddie, I'm going to let you go. But I was going to say thank you so much for coming on season 4, episode 4 of Live with CDP podcast. This is my 169th episode since March of 2020. So
yeah, man.
Yes.
We talk about it all the time, man. You're making a life change right now. It's never too late. I love being on here. That's why I was like, when you asked me, I was like, it's a no-brainer, man. I love being able to chat with you, and you do an excellent job, man. Just keep it up.
And my next podcast this Wednesday, I'm going to have John Urban. He's the online play-by-play announcer for the NBL champion London Lightning this Wednesday at 2:00. So he's going to talk to us about his career and about the London Lightning and what his thoughts were about playing the TBL teams as well. He's a really good guy too. He's a Pittsburgh Pirates fan.
I'm going to tune into that, man. That'll be good. I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, Wednesday at 2:00 with John.
Okay. I'm going to tune in, Chris.
But again, hey, I appreciate you coming on, Freddie, and we'll definitely have you come back on again in the future. And I'm going to try to get Chris on as well with his schedule as well.
Okay, awesome, man. I appreciate your time, Chris. You have a good rest of your day, man.
You too, Freddie, and we'll be in touch with you later on tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Freddie.
See you.
See ya. Anyways, guys, that was Coach Freddie Zamora from the head coach of the Basketball League's Toledo Glass City. In the regular season, they played 24 games. They went 16-8, second place in the Upper Midwest Division of the TBL. There's 6 divisions in that league, by the way, and about 42 teams approximately. And then Toledo went 4-3 in the playoffs, winning a couple rounds and then losing in the Midwest Conference Finals to the Komoka Bobcats, who lost to the Albany Batoons. So again, last night, guys, just to remind you, the TBL Finals, 2022 TBL Finals was last night. Game 1 was in Shreveport. It's a best of 3. The Shreveport Mavericks won 123-115 over the Albany Batoons. Game 2 is Wednesday, July 6th at 7:00, I believe, in Albany. And if there's a game 3, it's only a best of 3. It would be Thursday, July 7th, also in Albany. And I'm suspecting the game is at 7:00. Game 2, and if there's a game 3, will be on TBL TV as well. And we'll see if the Patroons can come back in this series and even it up on Wednesday night and force the game 3, or if Shreveport can close the deal and win the 2022 NBL championship. You guys can catch the games on TBL TV as well. And that's about it, guys. Before I let you go, I just wanted to let you know my next podcast is tentatively scheduled. Next Live with CDP podcast right now is Wednesday, July 6th at 2:00 with John Urban. He's the online play-by-play announcer for the NBL champion London Lightnings. He'll be on 2:00 Eastern this Wednesday, July 6th. If I have another podcast before then, I will give you guys heads up as well. Also, guys, check out Are You Serious Tap and Grill on 130 Silver Creek Parkway in North St. Guelph, 519-766-0230. They're the official pub of Bill's Mafia in Guelph, and they have great antiheatles, great wings, great nachos, and a good beer selection, and most importantly, good customer service at Are You Serious Tap and Grill here in Guelph. Please check them out. And also, guys, The Holiday Inn Express in Niagara Falls, New York, located on 10111 Niagara Falls Boulevard. 716-298-4500 is the official hotel of Live with CDP podcast, myself, when visiting the Buffalo area as well. And Tammy St. Clair is the general manager, and Megan is one of their great employees, and same with Bobby. So they'll take good care of you there at the Holiday Express in Niagara Falls, New York. And there's their ticker right there as well. And before we go, guys, again, you can check out Freddie on Coach Zamaya, Freddie Zamaya on Twitter at Coach Freddie Zamaya. Same as on Instagram and Facebook as well. And you can also check out the basketballleague.net, thebasketballleague.net. And if you want to check out the Toledo Glass City, Toledo Glass City, BC.net as well. And before we wrap up my podcast, season 4, episode 4 of Live with CDP podcast, just give me 1 second. I'm doing some work today, so you can catch the Guelph Union soccer game this afternoon at 3 p.m. on Rogers TV 20 versus the Pro Stars FC at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph. Yours truly will be doing some camera work with Rogers TV today with Neil Waite, the producer, and Jeff Keddy, the audio tech on. So, and I'm looking forward to it. So, guys, if I do another show before Wednesday with John Urban, I will give you guys heads up. But again, want to say thank you so much to Coach Freddie Zamaya for coming on and talking about the Toledo Glass City and talking about the TBL, the Basketball League, and look forward to having him on again in the future as a guest as well. So, I hope everybody has a great day. And wishing my American family and friends happy 4th of July, Independence Day in the States. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow. And we'll see you guys either Tuesday or Wednesday for the next edition of Live with CDP podcast. I want to say, before I go, guys, I do this with all my podcast shows. Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn. And thank you to everyone watching this on my YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe and like notification on my YouTube channel. And thank you to everybody watching this on Facebook Live. Thanks, Dave and Jerry, particularly for watching this podcast, and Kelsey. And thanks to everybody watching this live on my Twitter page at Christy Palme. At Christy Palme. You can follow me on Twitter there. I'm at 898 followers on Twitter now as well. And to wrap it up, you guys can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's at Live with CDP on TikTok. I post a lot of video content there as well. So that's about it today for the podcast. But guys, we'll see you guys very soon. I just got one more comment here. Jerry, thank you for watching, buddy. I really appreciate it. You're the man, Chris. Well, I'm just hoping somebody will give me an opportunity in radio and the media industry as well. So I appreciate you watching, buddy. I hope you have a great day as well. Guys, again, like I said, my next Live with CDP podcast for now is scheduled for this Wednesday, July 6th at 2:00 with John Urban, the online play-by-play announcer for the NBL champion London Lightning at 2:00 this Wednesday. And that's about it. So, guys, I hope you all have a great day. And if any of you are in the Guelph area, please tune into Rogers TV 20 at 3:00 today for Guelph Union Ladies Soccer against the Pro Stars FC team. And I'll be behind the camera for Rogers TV. And a shout out to Neil White, the producer, and Jeff Keddy, the audio technician as well. So, guys, have a great day. Happy Independence Day for everybody in the States. We'll see you guys Wednesday at 2:00 for the next edition of Live with CDP podcast. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a great day, guys.